Welcome back, everyone. The 2022 NBA season has officially come to an end for the Lakers, and well, it did not take long for rumors to come out about what they're looking to do next. They have already parted ways with their now former head coach Frank Vogel, which I will cover in a later video, but along with that, they have been linked to multiple trade opportunities. We already covered the report detailing a potential trade with the Charlotte Hornets, but now another trade rumor has begun to gain traction. And this one comes from The Athletic, who claimed that the Indiana Pacers could emerge as a potential trade suitor for Russell Westbrook. And oh boy, this rumor is already making a lot of Laker fans eager for the summer. However, before we get too ahead of ourselves, we need to look into the details here. For one, while The Athletic is definitely a reputable source, we do need to recognize that this report is purely speculation. It did not come from either team that would be involved in the trade. Up until this point, neither the Indiana Pacers nor LA Lakers have talked about making a trade like this one. Maybe and hopefully they will in the future, but nothing has been talked about yet. And that is where I think a lot of confusion and really false hope is beginning to occur. Given that the report came from The Athletic, a few people seem to believe that a trade is already being negotiated, which could not be further from the truth. And I just want to make that very clear. It's fine to be optimistic about a trade you want to happen, but we do need to be realistic here. With all of that being said though, what would an actual trade involving Westbrook look like between them? What might the Lakers have to give up to get what they want? And would the Indiana Pacers actually be willing to accept their offer? We will talk about all of that in today's video and try to make an effort to paint a clear picture on this trade rumor. And if you want to stay up to date on all the latest rumors like this one, news, and updates about the Lakers during the summer, be sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications for my channel. But without further ado, let's dive into what the trade might look like and why it could occur. And to begin, I think we need to understand why Indiana would even want to trade for Westbrook in the first place. And well, to put it simply, the Pacers are entering a rebuild, which means that they do not want to have any long-term money tied up to any aging players. And while they may not have many of them, they do have two in particular that they might want to get off their salary cap book, with those two being Brogdon+Hield and Malcolm Brogdon. Both Hield and Brogdon are under contract beyond next year, and along with that, will both be turning 30 years old as well. Indiana is looking at a relatively long-term rebuild here, and one that neither Hield nor Brogdon would fit very well into. By the time their rebuild is complete, both of them could be well beyond their prime. However, I do realize that hearing that might make you think, well, why would they want Westbrook then, who happens to be older than either of them and has an even bigger contract than them too? And that is a good question, and one that actually has a few different answers. Now, there are a couple of different reasons for why Indiana might find it beneficial to trade for Westbrook, but the primary one would have to be with him having an expiring contract. Even a contract as big as his can hold value if it will be expiring, because for a rebuilding team, the amount of the contract does not really matter. They only care about how long it will be on their salary cap. And when you look at the bigger picture here, the contract of Westbrook would actually cost them less money in the long term. I mean, sure, they would have to pay him the $47.1 million remaining on his contract for next year, but that is actually significantly less money than what Hield and Malcolm Brogdon are owed. Combined, they're owed roughly $59.4 million more over the next 3 years, which again, would not be ideal for a team entering a rebuild. But okay, now that we understand part of why trading for Westbrook could hold value for them, why else would they want to make a trade for him? And well, they would because they know his value is currently very low, which means that they would be able to get draft compensation by trading for him. We all know how badly Westbrook's value went down this season. It even got to the point where the Houston Rockets were not even willing to swap him in a straight-up trade for John Wall, who, by the way, has barely even played during the past 3 years. And while his now expiring contract will help rebuild some of that value, along with him playing better to finish out the year, the Indiana Pacers will be well aware of his lower trade value. That will give them, or really any other team, an opportunity to get significant draft compensation by taking on his contract. But then if they would throw in two quality role players with value like Brogdon+Hield and Malcolm Brogdon, they could be looking at getting a great return by trading for Westbrook. There are those that believe that the Lakers would be able to trade Westbrook and only one first-round draft pick for Malcolm Brogdon and Brogdon+Hield, but in reality, that's probably kind of doubtful. I guarantee that a trade negotiation between them would at least begin with Indiana demanding two first-round draft picks, and maybe even a second-round draft pick or two, or potentially even Austin Reeves. And that is where the real debate comes into play. How much should the Lakers be willing to give up in order to trade away Westbrook for quality players in return? Because rather than doing that, they might be able to salary dump him to a different team for a few bad contracts in return, but without having to give up major draft compensation to get rid of him. However, we're talking about two quality players here in Brogdon+Hield and Malcolm Brogdon, both of which would undeniably be good fits around LeBron and Anthony Davis. Now, they definitely do have their flaws, but the Lakers would not otherwise have an opportunity to acquire them. But on the flip side of that argument again, the Lakers do not have much draft compensation left to give up. They only have one tradable first-round draft pick at the moment, and will only gain another one following the 2022 NBA Draft. If they were to trade away both of them for Brogdon+Hield, they would be left with nothing but second-round draft picks to trade away, along with the minimal young talent that they have left. And that is only if they would not have to give up Austin Reeves or Talen Horton-Tucker in that trade as well, which could very well be a demand from Indiana. It's very difficult to predict everything that the Pacers would want in return here, but they clearly would want at least one first-round draft pick. And if I were the Lakers, I would be willing to take that deal. But if Indiana is demanding both of their first-round draft picks, along with potentially even Austin Reeves, that would probably have to be a no from me. Like I mentioned before, rather than making that kind of trade, they could always find a team to salary dump Westbrook to that would not require giving up as much draft compensation. Many believe that the Oklahoma City Thunder would be an option for that, and maybe even the Detroit Pistons too. In conclusion though, while I am definitely intrigued with the possibility of acquiring Malcolm Brogdon and Brogdon+Hield for Westbrook, we don't even know if Indiana would even be willing to make that trade. And along with that, we don't know what they would demand in return even if a trade is eventually negotiated between them, so until any of that happens, we can only wait and see. But with that, that will conclude my thoughts on a potential Westbrook trade involving the Indiana Pacers. And what do you guys think? Would you like to see a trade like this one happen? Let me know your thoughts by commenting down below and we can talk about it there. But before you go, I would like to invite you to join the official Discord for the channel. If you like having NBA debates and discussion with others in real time, being updated on NBA news, or even being able to chat with me, then you really should think about joining. That will do it for this video though. Big thank you to everyone who took the time to watch until the end of the video. I really hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, be sure to drop a like on the video, subscribe to the channel if you have not already, and turn on notifications to get notified right away when I drop a new video. But as always, thank you for watching and have a great day.